I'm excited for this next guest because it was such a unique story for us. I learned a lot from this whole crazy experience. Please welcome to LAAMP, my friend and comedic genius, Bård bylvis.
Thank you. Is it working? The mic, is it on? Are we good? Yeah, it's green.
Welcome to LAAMP.
Thank you so much.
Can you believe that we're still 12 years later talking about this song?
I think we will until we die.
It's the gift that it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, but it'll be increasingly sad, you know. It'll be sadder and sadder as.
You know what? There are artists from the 80s and they still tour their one song.
I know. Yeah. No, but it's fun. I still love it, to be honest. I still kind of like it.
Okay. Why do you still like it?
I like it because it is a joke, and it was made as a joke, and it was supposed to be a spoof on like pop music and everything that comes with, you know, pop music. And the more stuff that keeps happening, the more it adds to the joke. Like last year we were in Japan and playing in front of like 60,000 on a baseball arena, like 10 years after. And they all wore fox costumes. So it's just like it gets more and more ridiculous for every year. But yeah.
And now we're adding to it because now we're taking the song seriously, and it's now a a case study here at LAAMP.
Yeah, let's go.
So it's part of the curriculum now of serious music education.
Can I first say that I'm so amazed by you guys? I mean, I've been here for a couple of times, and I just listened today, and it's you're so good. You're so amazing, like all of you. So. Props.
I agree. So, for those of you who don't know, Bård used to do a TV show in Norway, and part of that TV show was doing musical impersonations. You've said that the whole idea of doing this show was so that you can make music. Music is your first love, or comedy is your first love?
It's a combo, I would say. But we did a talk show, and we were really bad at talking to people. But we just did it mainly to get money to make music videos. All of them being like funny or comedy music videos.
Okay.
So yeah, that was the goal.
And so the story behind this particular song was, I saw Bård on TV. I always loved SNL. I don't know any other SNL fans in the house. I love characters. I love impersonations. I love making fun of pop culture. And Bård had this impersonation of a Norwegian artist called Sondre Lerche, who you may know. Some of you may know. And I thought it was so spot on, and I fell in love with this thing, and I was like, I have to speak to Bård and ask him to do a impersonation of Mikkel, or us, for his 40th birthday. And that's really how, from my perspective, that's how this whole story started.
Yeah, from our perspective, we'd always been fans of Stargate and wanted to work with them, but we thought that if we asked them, they'll say no. So the idea was,
you're right.
I know. And we were like, I said to my brother, because I work with my brother, I said, let's wait until they call us for some reason. That's our only shot. So that was, and it happened.
So I said, it's Mikkel's birthday. I want to give him a video for his 40th. Can you just make a couple of minutes of a video, like a mockumentary, where you just make fun of us, and it's not for public consumption, it's just for internal jokes. And Bård said, sure, I'll make it. They did it, and we're going to show it if you guys want to see it. But before we show it, I just want to, the thing that happened was that they went above and beyond and made a real production out of it, like way more than I thought they would. And I said, how can I pay you? Like, what do you want in return? And Bård said, I don't want anything in return, but we want one day in the studio. Right?
Yeah.
That was the start of it. And we will, of course, get to what happened that one day in the studio. But first, Hunter, are you back there? Okay, I just didn't see you behind there. Should we watch this video? This is for Mikkel's 40th birthday. This is what?
A long time ago.
This is how it looks.
All these songs have one thing in common. They've all been produced by Mikkel Eriksson from Trondheim, Norway. With With dozens of his songs climbing to the top 10 on both UK and US charts, he's earned the nickname the Bald Wizard by stars such as Rihanna, Jay-Z, and Katy Perry.
Quick, 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 just step on the gas, 'cause I don't
Alexis,
wanna...
let's just try to stand a little bit closer to the microphone, like Rihanna did yesterday when she was here in Stargate Studios to record a new album. For me, it's always been about the music, and I just want to hear our songs being played on the radio. That's it's not so much about the fame and the champagne and the money and the Maserati and the MX-5 and the BMW, and of course the lack of economical worries for the rest of my life. It's just about the music.
The story of Mikkel and Stargate is the story of success, but it's also the story of two guys in their 30s. And as Mikkel now reaches his 4th decade on the planet Earth, we ask ourselves, Mikkel, the sound of tomorrow, or the sound of a middle-aged man desperately screaming for help to yet again hit the top of the charts, or at least top 20. This is where it all started.
Nei, de fleste tror jo at det musikken som hovedinteressen hans, men han har jo ikke noe utdanning innen musikk, og han kan jo ikke veldig mye i det faget egentlig. Det jo kokk han har utdanning i.
Well, it all started when I decided not to become a cock, and I quit the cock school and started to work with music. And at one point I had to decide whether I want to be a producer or become an artist myself. I chose to become a producer, but I think I could easily just have been an artist.
So different in this soul. Come on.
In their New York studio, Tor Erik and Mikkel are struggling to manage their backups.
Men det som greia her, Tor Erik, følg med da. Det som greia her at da har jeg laget som backup, det 4 disker som tar backup, sant, av dagens arbeid hele tiden automatisk. Det legger seg inn på A-disken her, det liksom hoveddisken, og så ligger det instrumentalene på B- og D- og C-disken, og de raider alle sammen i RAID 5, ikke sant, så det bare checksummer på ene. Og så det da 2 kloner her som sånn som vi tar med på tur. Ok?
Ja. Ja, men har vi den siste mixen til Beyoncé?
Det vet jeg ikke helt. Men på de siste diskene her så er kategorisert alt looper og lyder og sampler så fra 1998 og frem til i dag.
Hæ?
A lot of people probably don't know this about Mikkel, but he was actually offered a record deal in Germany many years ago to be sort of the white R. Kelly, which fits his look. Put on him a pair of shades and call him the white R. Kelly.
I believe I can fly.
And one of the things I like a lot about Mikkel is that he's very sort of happy-go-lucky, very carefree. You know, he doesn't really pay too much attention to his own appearance. Like, you know, if he'll spill ketchup on his shirt during lunch, he's not the kind of guy who will just drive home to change shirts. He will just wear that shirt all day.
Being two modest guys from Norway, little has changed, even after spending a lot of time in the United States.
Well, for example, when we made The Only Girl in the World, the way it actually happened was that we got this small part, a small riff, synth riff from Sandy V, which we really liked, the both of us, and we wanted to evolve that further.
Yes, and we wanted to use the first hook, so that's basically what you recognize when you hear the song.
Yeah, I can play it here.
Although his interest for cars is well above average, Mikkel's main interest has always been to be at the tip of the spear when it comes to music and technology.
Hovedinstrumentet hans har hele tiden vært keyboard, så han har spilt synt fra han var liten. Og i dag så har de tatt skrittet helt ut og bruker GarageBand. Det oppsettet som velkjent av alle store musikkprodusenter i verden.
One of the reasons why we changed over to GarageBand is because it doesn't have very many buttons in it, and it also have this function called fixed timing, which we use a lot, and that's awesome.
His work is never finished. I have to come in and save it, and people think that he is the brain, but it's not necessarily that way. We can listen to one of his demos of the Rude Boy with Rihanna. This is what he has made. And he came to me and he said he was finished. And I just had to work a little bit about with the whole expression, and after I had worked with it, it sounded more like. So it's more hooky and.
Mikkel has always been a big fan of yodeling and thinks the key to his future success lies in the combination of his two favorite genres, dance and yodeling.
Well, what I'm working on now is a project which I'm very excited about. It's a project with an Austrian singer called Melanie Oesch, and she's just awesome. And what we do is I make some beats like this one, standard beat, and when she comes in, it's just like an explosion. You can just, it hits you right in the chest. It's so awesome. That's gonna be a great hit.
And then Mikkel started playing the jodel track for me, and I was like, hello, this is a crazy hit. And my heart just started pounding harder and harder. It was horrible, and my hips started moving like a horse, and I was like, this is a crazy hit, right? And of course the only thing was, as always, I could not hear the hi-hat, but hey.
Ironically enough, Mikkel and Stargate have always struggled to get their songs aired on Norwegian radio.
For the last years, they've been turned more into like indie and world music. I mean, is Rihanna girl from Brazil or something? We can't play that on the radio, so everybody understands that. Also Mikkel, I guess.
Shine bright like a diamond.
Da må jeg bare få gratulere med dagen, Mikkel. 40 år, det er en anselig alder, og du har oppnådd mye frem til nå. Jeg håper at du får oppleve og oppnår mye i fremtiden også.
Shine bright like a diamond.
Hello Mikkel, this is Sandy V with a happy birthday for you. I'm so happy for you and your family. And I wish you a very good future, a lot of play the music and make crazy hits.
But Mikkel, it is a pleasure working with you, you know that, and all the fun we have had all these years. I'm very thankful for it, and I just want to wish you all the best on your 40th birthday from your friend Tor. I love you.
It's nice to see you again, Mikkel. Happy belated. So I haven't seen that in many, many years.
Me neither.
So thank you for that. That's how it all started. What happened next?
What happened next, we got to go to Rock and Mike Studios. No, before that we started sort of sending emails back and forth. So the thing is that we wanted to sort of use this opportunity to make something fun for our talk show and a music video, and we thought that what can we do as comedians? Now the worst thing to do would be to go there and actually try to make a hit, because as a comedian you're not supposed to do that. So we thought, what can we do? Well, the best thing would be to go there and exploit their talent, basically. Get them to make the best beats possible, and bring a film crew and like show that we were in Rock and Mike Studios. We had the opportunity to make something great, but we screwed up. So we started thinking about what kind of idea can fit that narrative, and we came up with this idea about like what sound the fox made. It was just me and my friend Christian sitting in the studio working, and we actually sort of started wondering what the sound was, and we thought that's a perfect idea. That's so ridiculous, so stupid. It will be a catastrophe, but for us as comedian, we can bring that back to Norway, and it'll be fun. Like we had a chance, but we blew it. That was the idea. So we went over. I have some fun emails. I didn't find them, but there's like I'm sending these ideas to Tor, and he's like, "Are you sure? Are you sure? Don't you want to make a real song?" And we were like, "No, it's going to be about a fox." And he was like, "Yeah," and increasingly not interested in this project at all. And so they sent us 2 beats. We liked the verse from one beat, we liked the chorus from another beat, we chopped them together, and so we went over to New York, we did the recording, and our philosophy has always been, the lyrics should be jokey and fun, the production should be as good as you can. Like there's never any jokes in the production. So when it came to the idea, we were we followed our idea. But when it came to the musical production side and the hit making side of it, we listened to whatever you guys said, and they took it seriously. Like we asked them, do not fuck with the music. The lyrics is going to be the joke. So we were in the studio and we had a lot of fun. It was absurd. We were screaming fox sounds, just doing it right there. We had some suggestions on our phone, but we pretty much made it in the studio. And you had feedback, I remember. You wanted to do, when we said, I don't know if you remember the song, but it's like, what does the fox say? And you get the sounds, and the repeat is, what the fox says. And that was your suggestion. We thought it was super stupid and sort of lowbrow. Like, let's not fall to that level. Because you thought it sounded like, what the fuck? And that would be fun for people. And we thought, what a stupid idea. But that was when we had like a timeout and sort of thought, okay, he they know what they're doing, and I think that was a brilliant thing, among other stuff. We wanted it to be named The Fox. You said should be called What Does the Fox Say? That's what you sing. So the same things he tells you guys, he told us, and it worked. So we went back home, and you thought it was a weird day, and you were done with it. I came home to the hotel, and I'd been working. You wouldn't believe it, but those lyrics, we spent a lot of time writing those lyrics. They're super stupid, but they're just the right amount of stupid. So we spent more time with those lyrics than any other song we've made. So, this was a big deal for us. For you guys, it wasn't, but for us, it was a big deal. So when I came back to the hotel room, I put the buds in, I listened to it, and I started crying, which is weird, because the song just shouldn't evoke those emotions. But it was more the whole ordeal, I guess. And I sent it to I also felt there's something here, so I sent it to managers, I sent it to like the label, and they were all like, you never know when you have a hit, but for some reason, when I sent that to people, they all reacted like immediately. They started firing up the engines and like, this is definitely something. So we went back home, we made the video, we didn't have a lot of money. The fox costumes, the guy who was supposed to make fox costume had a nervous breakdown the night before the shoot. He was, he's still not recovered. So we had to go to the Norwegian sort of movie costume thing, and we rented 2 costumes. It's a squirrel and a bear. That's what you see in the...
No fox.
No fox, they didn't have. So we have different tails if you pay attention to it. And we still have to pay. We're still leasing these costumes because you're not allowed to buy them. So yeah, we made the video and then it blew up.
Yes, it sure did. I do want to share my perspective from when you were in the studio, because it was fascinating to see, because it's, as Bård says, the music was the way it was. It was unfiltered. We just made those beats as any other beat. We didn't try to be funny, or we just sent some beats out. But when you came in and you were prepared with the concept, I remember what I said in one of those emails when you were pushing the idea. I said, well, it's your day. You can do whatever you want. I'm not going to get in the way of it. And so they had the verses, which were very kind of heartfelt and earnest. But the minute, and then they were sitting around, you know, thinking about sounds for the Fox, but I wasn't really paying attention. But when they went on the mic, and the first ring, ding, 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 it came out of the speakers, I just could not believe what I was hearing. It was like the horror and the surprise and you know, and the shock value of this moment was so profound. And that's a learning curve, because I've only had that shock moment one other time, and it's the first time I heard Sam Smith "Stay With Me." First time I heard that chorus, "Won't you stay?" You remember this? When it comes in and it just hits you in the face. I felt the same thing. Like, what the hell is this? And I was like, okay, well, I'll just let him do it. And you know, and you had a bunch of sounds.
Yeah.
And then you went back to the chorus or some post, and I remember my only, I think, valuable input, as far as I remember, it was like, no, the drop should just be animal sounds. It shouldn't go back into like the singing part or like a proper part at the end of that hook. It's all, okay, so you're like, oh, we need twice as many Fox sounds or something like that.
Yeah.
And the clarity of this idea, I think, is what makes it so powerful. But that surprise of going on the mic and going completely ballistic, I'll never forget. When you left, we sent the mix out. We didn't give it another thought until the day before. And you said, okay, here's the video. Sent me a link of the video. I looked at the video. I was like, great. I just said, cool, good luck. And I kid you not, the next day, 24 hours later, it was a viral sensation before there were really viral sensations. I think Gangnam Style was the only one. Yeah. It blew up, millions of views overnight. Of course, it was on Fox News. And it captured the public's imagination in a way that I've never seen. That was pretty special.
It was.
Did you have a feeling that this was going to happen? Did you have a plan? Did you have any commercial ambitions?
No. No, same plan as ever. We try to tell ourselves, like, do the best you can with whatever idea you've got. But there was something there. We knew in hindsight, we do see that we did double the video budget. Like, we did double the press intensity when we released it. So we all knew it was something, but this obviously not. So, but we gave it our best.
I think it's valuable just because, you know, we talk about everyone being one song away and how when something catches fire, you can't stop it. We had, from my perspective, there was no record label. There was no marketing plan. I guess you sent it to a bunch of people, but there was no real plan. This song went top 10 in America on Billboard by the strength of the idea. And you know, how you always hear about people saying this is a priority for us and you know, you need to do this legwork. Sometimes just a brilliant idea is enough. And that was the big lesson for us. The fact that two Norwegian comedians can have a worldwide hit is one thing, but also for it to hit in America was something that I've never been part of, and it was a real learning curve. Like, oh, if this could happen, it could technically happen to anyone. That's how I felt about it. Should we watch it? Are we going to watch this video? Here it is. What does the Fox say? Thoughts? Questions?
Why?
1.2 billion streams later. It's really the gift that keeps on giving.
Absolutely.
Nobody saw it coming.
Nope.
And those are the best ones. So I think there's definitely some lessons to be learned here that sometimes you have no idea what's about to happen.
Absolutely. And it's often when you take those walks on the wild side, it's not an easy thing to do necessarily, because you could easily a lot of times we could have chosen much easier routes. We had to really sort of stick to our idea and fight for it, and you do not know, once you think outside the box, which is a good thing to do every now and then, when you're trying to be original, it's often a painful thing, because you don't know if you're going to fail miserably. It's either or. I mean, the box is the safe space, so outside of it, it's scary. And when you have, you know, it cost, for us it cost time and money and effort, and it was a big chance. We've always wanted to work with you guys, and to sort of do something as stupid as that, it took a lot of courage, to be honest.
I'm glad you did it, and I do think it's funny that when you go somewhere and the premise is to fuck up an opportunity, and it becomes the biggest thing of your career.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
True, but we had fun, which is important.
Yes.
We had fun, and you guys were super professional, being in the vocal booth, and I believe Mikael was behind the controls right there, and feel like you're being lifted. That's an important, you know, responsibility as a producer, I think, to have the artist in the booth feel like you're being lifted up on the next level.
Right.
And we did that with everything, like the director of the video, the choreographer. There's no jokes anywhere to be found except in the lyrics.
Right. And I think if I'm going to now do what I normally do up here, which is dissect this thing,
yeah.
It also, as much as you're saying you're outside the box, it does feel very satisfying on a pop dance songwriting in that perspective. The clarity of concept, the way the verses all build up to this one statement. You have a very clear idea going into the drop. The drop comes, the sounds. It's so easy that when I played this for my son, which was 3 years at the time, that's my wife back there, by the way. That's Rhoda in the back. I'm glad you're here. He just took the iPad and said, "Can I have this? Can I take the iPad?" And he took the iPad to his room, played it 75 times. It took no convincing explanation. It's a universal thing. You were able to capture people's attention and imagination with this one question. It's like, because everyone's like, yeah, what does the fox say, right? It's an actual thing. It's simple and stupid, but it's also kind of profound and real. So you were able to hit a lot of marks there. And then at the end, when it goes to into that second beat, you're actually giving it your all. Like then it all of a sudden gets weirdly emotional.
Yeah.
So, you know, it does follow all the pop songwriting rules, or it hits the marks,
yeah.
But from a completely different and original perspective.
Yeah, and I think that's the challenge when you're sort of trying to step outside the box. You still try to lock onto something universal, and that's really hard. I mean, because stepping out of the box and making something that hasn't been made before, it needs to be relatable. And we did, the question came up, and then we started researching fox noises, and it was an even weirder sort of universe out there. I mean, they do make the craziest sounds. So that's just like further fueled us. Like, this is a weird animal.
Right.
We need to do something about this. So, yeah.
And then after this, it really took its on a life of its own. When you went to, where did you go? You went to someplace in Asia where they did not know that you were comedians because they hadn't seen the TV show,
yeah.
And they took you seriously as artists.
Yeah, and I remember some Chinese talk show that we went to. It was like, do you know it's a spiritual song? Like that you made a spiritual song? Because I don't remember why. It was something about the animal or something. It had some value to them and they just took it seriously. Hard to imagine with the chorus, the drop in there, but I don't know.
And you won Best New Artist, I remember, in some country.
Yeah, might be.
So that was the story of the fox.
Yeah.
It was really fascinating to me to see. But you have done music and comedy has been part. I mean, your life's work in a way.
Yeah.
Where did that lead you, and what are you doing now?
So it's me and my brother, and we've been working together for, 20 years and plus. And so that's what we do. And when we were kids, we started doing, or kids when we were young, we did like variety shows and stage shows, but we transitioned more into television after that. And our like biggest sort of heroes were Tenacious D, Jack Black, other comedians who also took the musical side of it deeply seriously. And there aren't that many. I mean, even the things that came after this song, I mean, SNL did make their own version of it, but they all have like a smirk, or they're like, they're not serious about the musical side and everything. So we were really fans of those guys, and we've tried to do that ever since. So we did television shows, and we've made other songs as well, following the same recipe. this one just hit. It hit something more universal. But we made more songs together. Some of them fun. But yeah, so that's kind of our brand. And
can you talk about the experience of then all the doors that opened? Then you came to America and you were offered. You started developing other TV shows. You did other things over here. What happened?
Pretty classical Hollywood story. After that song, a lot of people wanted to work with us because of the figures, obviously, the streaming numbers. And we were invited over. We did a pilot, and the reason to go to Hollywood is to get more money to make bigger stuff, right? And once you introduce more money, you introduce anxiety, because a lot of people are now invested and they want to control your creative. And you try your best to fight it, but if there's a lot of money involved, it's harder to just stick to your creative. So the first project we did a pilot. It's the worst thing I've ever done. Really horrible. So we went back to Norway, and we developed a new show, a musical. It's sort of a new genre that we call true musicals. It's a documentary show where we make musicals out of real stories, but we make fun of them. So, and we did this whole thing. It became a project picked up by one of the big networks, and halfway through it was cancelled because we kept on fighting for our stupid ideas, and they kept telling us why it wouldn't work, why it needed to be broader, why it needed to have this and that for people to understand it. And it's interesting because these people, these networks or labels in your case, but they try to argue and tell you what's going to make your stuff work, but they would have never greenlit the Fox. I mean, everything is wrong with it. So the very reason they're asking us to come over is something that they would have never approved. So we ended up, we've now been cancelled, and we spent years making this thing, and people have been divorced and kids haven't seen their parents. So not a huge fan of Hollywood, but we go back to Norway, and we keep doing stuff in Norway.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, what I think is an important lesson for us is to broaden our horizons in two things. One, in the creative process, which will lead us into this week's song assignment, and that is, what are we talking about in the song? But the other thing is, music can be used and applied in many different situations. It doesn't always just have to be as an artist on Spotify, right? It can be at a TV show, it could be a comedy project. So whenever Bård calls now, we always have time for Ylvis, of course because of this, but also because I just love that part of music, where we're not trying to be funny, but it's taking our music and using it in a completely new context. I'm inspired by that, and I always loved all those parody shows on SNL and stuff. So I think that's a real takeaway from this. Do you guys have any thoughts or questions for Bård? Yes?
So something that you said that resonated a lot is that it's just the right amount of stupid, the song I mean. How do you find that? Do you have some way of thinking about that, or is that mostly just by feel?
I think it's by feel. It's sort of a gut feeling, but you don't know. No, you don't know. And it's scary, I think. Very often it's scary. Because you don't know until it's too late. Because it needs to resonate with something. And either it's like a universal thing that everyone understands, but those things you rarely know until either they've been done before, in which case it's not that fun to do it again, or you have an idea that might resonate, but you don't know until you've made it. So I was thinking about an idea yesterday, should probably not tell you, but it's like, I was wondering, I've always wanted to make a song about a feeling that I think it might resonate with people, but I don't know, and I don't know if it resonates with Norwegians or you guys, so I can tell you what it is. It's like when you go on vacation. A lot of times when you go on vacation, you sort of you change a bit, and you do stuff you don't necessarily do back home. So imagine you go to the Caribbean, and you're there with your family, and on day 2 you're relaxed and happy, and you walk past this guy who has a nice hat, and you think, that's a nice hat, he looks cool. So you buy the same hat, put it on, it feels kind of cool, and a couple of days in, you really love your hat, right? And and then it comes time to go back home. You board the plane, and when you're back home at LAX, you step off the plane, you get this weird feeling, but you know it's not the hat because you've worn the hat for 2 weeks and you've been awesome, so it's not the hat, but you keep walking towards like the baggage claim. As you're claiming your luggage, you definitely feel something is off. You have your hat on, it might be the hat, you don't know, maybe it's the hat, but you know, you felt cool when you were in the Caribbean. What has changed? Nothing has changed, and by the time you pass through customs, you know it's the hat. You can't pull off the hat. It's weird. You look like an idiot, and you sort of realize it. And you know you're about to meet your family, and you're gonna come there looking like an idiot with the hat. So that was sort of my idea. Like, is there a song in there? And by judging by the chuckling in Santa Monica right now, okay, it might be universal. You know, maybe that's the thing you felt, and you have to test it. You have to ask people. So maybe I'll make a song about a hat from Caribbeans.
I think you should.
That was a long answer.
I think you should. I love it. Anyone else? Yes.
I'm just curious, it's one thing to have a day in the studio with Stargate, and there's one thing to have a great idea, but then can you talk about the legwork after you make the song and you're thinking, oh, okay, this is pretty good, but like how do you go?
Right.
Especially in a time when virality was more rare, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I wish that I could say that then we just like, we pushed and pushed. The truth is that we had just launched the second season of our talk show back in Norway. So for every season we released 3 songs, and we very often used one of the songs as sort of a promotional video to sort of to get attention to the show. So we released that video, The Fox, a week prior to the season start. So it got some traction from the network. So we had the network in our backs. Instead of a label pushing it, we had like a television network pushing it. So that's why it got attention. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think they pulled some threads into sort of pushing it abroad as well. There were, at that time, it was like some blogs like Perez Hilton, you wouldn't remember it probably, but it's like, there were some blogs that you could sort of, and we had some connections there. So yeah, we had a network in our back helping us.
Okay, so now to this week's assignment. There's nothing more universal, I think, and relatable than an animal. You've proved it.
Yeah.
The Eye of the Tiger proved it. Black Widow proved it. Roar proved it. Whatever you guys are writing and talking about, we are incorporating an animal into this week's song.
I'm sorry.
Clearly, it's the only thing that's really worked for you.
Yeah.
So there's something there. It doesn't have to be funny. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. It can be your spirit animal. It can be a metaphor, right?
Yeah.
Whatever you do, I would love for it to be in the chorus and not a throwaway line. I would love for it to be meaningful. Think about an animal that you can relate to, that you can think of, and incorporate that into your song this week.
I'll say this though, like we were lucky because we hit something that was universal, right? So if you're making a song about an animal, there's another option as well, to make the song sort of self-contained. You know, if it's not relatable in a specific way, you can tell a story that in itself takes the sort of the listener through a story. So and we've done that. I brought a video that we made called Old Friends, just as an example of that. If you're not leaning into something that everyone knows, it's a song about 2 old guys who meet and they get a relationship, and the comedy comes in because it's like a very folky sort of Simon and Garfunkel-ish song, but the lyrics are sort of bananas. It's about friendship, which is nice, but the way they sort of act out their friendship is a bit off.
Okay.
So I can show that to you.
Yes.
As a comedy example.
I'd love to.
saw you at the railway station. There had been a cancellation. You were smoking cigarettes alone. I walked up and said hello. I lost my wife 2 days ago. You shook my hand and said, Francis, what's your name? And you had a hat, and I had a hat. We both had hats. And my wife was dead, and your wife was dead. Shit happens, Francis said. Francis said, it's 5 o'clock. How about we find a rock and throw it at some cars from the bridge? I laughed and said, that sounds like fun. We walked into the setting sun, and Francis said, I'm aiming at the kids. And he threw a rock, so I threw a rock. We both put some gravel in a sock, and he threw the sock. I said we should stop. He smiled at me, then threw a rock and a sock. We snuck down to the local farm, and there we opened up the barn to set the horses free and watch them run. The moon was extra bright that night, the horses in the pale moonlight. Watch this, Francis said, and pulled his gun. He shot a horse, so I shot a horse. Francis choked a chicken with his hands, but watching them die, he started to cry. I'm bored, Francis said, let's steal a car. Oh Margaret, don't you worry about me now. I'm doing just fine on my own. There are other things to life than your soft skin against mine. And Francis is helping me move on. I'm moving on. Life's a bitch, a wise man said. No matter what, you end up dead. And all that you can wish for is a friend. So pour another glass of wine, with Francis' shoulder touching mine. I'll stay right here until the bitter end. And you have a hat, and I have a hat. We both have hats. And your wife is dead, and my wife is dead. Here's to life, Francis said. Here's to life, Francis said. Here's to life, Francis said.
It's weirdly moving and heartfelt.
Yeah.
And completely inappropriate.
Yeah. Perfect mix.
I think what you guys have done throughout your entire career is to create these self-contained universes of ideas. It's not topical, and I think it's the secret to your success. It's not topical where, you know, topical comedy, it requires a bunch of references, right, that you know about. You saw whatever happened, you know, online or on TV this week, and it's a parody of something that's already out there. It's a self-contained story. And I think if there's a takeaway from this, is songs can be about anything.
Yeah.
So this week, if you're writing about, if you normally write about exes and people that have done you wrong, don't write a song called Snake and it's about your ex. That's not like a snake, he did you wrong or she did you wrong. Challenge yourself to write about something else. And the animal metaphor is a prompt for you to go into different places. Okay? Understood? We clear? Any questions? All right, let's do it. Thank you, Bård, for coming to LAAMP.
Thank you so much.